Hi there, everyone. I'm Sean Collins, and I'm the esports reporter with the Dallas Morning News. I cover the Call of Duty League and Optic Texas specifically, and I'm here with another Power Rankings. It's week 3. This one doesn't have too many changes, but I am going to go a little bit in depth into some of the matches this weekend and how this could be shifting soon. Um, just to start, I think I still have that top tier Seattle Surge, Toronto Ultra, Atlanta FaZe. I know the Toronto Ultra lost to Seattle, so they're 2-1, whereas both Atlanta and the London Royal Ravens are both still undefeated. But I still think Toronto's the second best team in the league. I thought that Seattle versus Toronto match was just two heavyweights, and I'm not really going to punish either of those teams for losing in a map 5 scenario there. I think Atlanta FaZe still rounds out the top of S tier. They're a good team. They've just had some shaky moments, and they've lost some maps where I think that they probably shouldn't have. I think the London Royal Ravens are at the top of A, and I think that they could definitely sneak into S2 very soon. They've been the biggest surprise of the season. I know a lot of people were high on them before we came in, but we just hadn't seen enough. But London is the real deal. They're playing really hot right now. And I think I've been impressed with the LA Thieves as well. They've been pretty good, and they've played well against top teams, just haven't been able to take down a top squad yet. In the B tier, I think I'm going to have Boston Breach move up a little bit. That's kind of the biggest change so far this week. I think I had them behind both Minnesota and Optic originally last week, and that's not really to punish Optic or Minnesota necessarily as much as I think that Breach had a good week. Minnesota, couple losses this week, but I still think that they're pretty good. They took FaZe pretty well, and I think that they're still a pretty good team. Optic Texas, they're kind of staying in that same spot right here. But I do think that they did show significant improvement. They may have only 3-0'd Paris Legion, which you can see is probably at the bottom of my power rankings. But it was more how Optic Texas beat Paris as opposed to that they did it. A lot of great adjustments during the match. Some impressive moments, including a B push on Control. Their hard point was much better with rotations, and their search and destroy was pretty good. I also think that LAG is still pretty good, why I have them in the B tier. I think that any of those teams from B to S could make a significant run at this first major. I could see any of them making top 4, so that's why I don't really want to punish any of them too bad. But these teams in C tier are definitely struggling. The Florida Mutineers, I think, might be the best of these teams, but I don't think that's saying too much. New York Subliners, obviously, they substituted Neptune out. And they plugged in Royalty. I think Royalty is a good player, but I'm not sure that this is all going to be the answer. It was an early roster change, and I still think I need to see a lot more out of the Subliners. Maybe that changes on land, though. Paris Legion, they're just struggling. They had a good match against FaZe. They've had some good moments here and there. They just, they're not up to the rest of the teams above them, I don't think. Maybe New York, I could see them beating New York, but right now I think that that's just where that's at. But there's going to be some big matches coming up this weekend. Optic really needs to get top 8, especially with it being its own major. They don't want to get knocked out in that first day, and I don't think Call of Duty League viewership wants that to happen either. They have that match against the Toronto Ultra that's tough. I'm not sure Optic's going to beat the Ultra. If they do, I think that they're definitely going to get one of those top 8 spots. That'd be a huge win. But I think that Optic can beat the Breach, and that would be a big deal. But mostly Optic's competing with the Minnesota Rocker and LAG for that spot in the top 8 right now. And the Rocker and LAG, believe, play each other, and so that's going to be a pretty big deal. Yeah, they play each other Saturday night. That's a pretty big match right now. I think Optic probably wants LAG to win that so that Minnesota can stick at one win, especially since Minnesota plays against Atlanta FaZe. So, Optic can make that top 8 if they get just a win against Boston and Minnesota loses both their matches. That's a way for them to sneak into that winner's bracket.